Kabam changing out the monthly event structure for those that are, say, Paragon and Valiant is actually really good. But there are improvements Kabam could do to make it just completely spot on. Hi everybody, welcome to the weekend and a bit of a topic-based video talking about these two things here, which I've fully explored, right? Oh, great, Rich, you boasting there. No, this is quite important because I don't do event quest at Thronebreaker level. I certainly wouldn't have any interest if this Valiant Gauntlet was not a Gauntlet style, because all the other things just don't align with where I'm at the game. And that's not like an arrogance thing. It's just like the rewards. You know, here's Thronebreaker difficulty right now. Thinking that you'd have to explore in order to get some of these things is just, it's not like, it's time consuming. And it's time taken away from something that I could be, you know, best placed in other areas in the game. Freeing up players' time is so important this year. Kabam need to focus on quality of life, improving the time investment in this game to what you get back from it. And that's not saying, oh, everything should be given to us for little to no effort being put in. No, it's how the games industry is going. And if you want to keep players, you need to streamline processes. And if Kabam continue like this, well, this is good. And it's going in a positive direction. Because within 1 week, I'd 100%ed the things I'm like, good, I've done them. And I've got some rewards back from them as a result. But in this video, we're going to talk about the changes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Of course, one thing, and it's going to be mainly focused on the, just Valiant difficulty or Valiant Gauntlet in general. But the first thing to get out of the way, the Paragon Gauntlet access is commendable, as it means that you're able to go in first off and test against the champions. It does mean that you'll only get to play against new champions twice, one in the Paragon Gauntlet and one in the Valiant difficulty. I'm also going to be looking to your feedback on the forums, and I must give my feedback to Kabam because our feedback differs. What I say is bad, you might think is okay. What I think is good, you might be like, no, that's not good at all. I've put the notes of this video in the description if you do want to read as well, but let's kind of like get into the likes and dislikes of this. So one of the first things that I like and is commendable is the energy cost. If you go through other types of event quests, let's say Thronebreaker difficulty, it does range in the type of energy cost throughout. And of course, the more energy, it's more spendier to you. I've saved more energy refills, which means if I've got the time, I want to do 9.2 this month. If I've got another piece of quest to do, then at least I've got energy refills for that. If I want to go farm something like units from lower event quests, then at least I again got that opportunity to grab back some energy refills for that, so it's not so expensive. And I like that about the this particular difficulty. I like as well within here the encouragement to play other champions. So when you're going in to create a team, you're like, oh, here's one revelation this month. I have never had the opportunity to play White Tiger. Never had the opportunity. Never played it. I've even got the wrong stat focus on at the moment. Why is that significant? Well, I'm playing champions I don't normally play. That's good, right? That is a good step for Kabam if I'm kind of finding champions out and going, well, this encourages me to play different champions more because I have to have more of an expansive roster. There is a negative to that, which we'll talk about in the bad section, but I want to get all the good out of the way and talk about the positivity. And the positivity is me being able to play champions I don't normally play. I also like the structure of things because I will now never do Thronebreaker difficulty because, again, reward investment, time sink, doing so many fights. And there are, again, negative side of things. We'll talk about in a minute about the extent and number of fights that you're doing. But the overall structure of going to like choose a new champion, it, again, is good. There's going to be some negative. I'm separating the video out like to a point where I'm saying it's good. There's also a negative point with it. But the overall structure and the quick access of going, I do 1.1, just 1.1's done. It might take a little bit of time, but it's done in a kind of a way that it's a smoother process. It's very fun. It reminds me a lot of the Crucible, and if you haven't done the Crucible, go and check out special events and kind of do that, because if you're looking for a piece of content that's going to get you, is it rank 3 7-star guaranteed, then the Crucible is just like it's just fun. It's a fun type of event to go and do. or special event to do if you want to do it. It just reminds me a lot of that in structure of things and flow. And then yeah, I found very, very weird. I don't know if anybody else is finding it in Valiant difficulty. Most of the time, I'm talking about maybe about 80% of the time, I'm finding, see, it's like saying 60% of the time it works every time, but I'm finding more frequently, let's go with more frequently, champions, like enemy defenders, are thrown to special attacks. One of the biggest issues that a lot of us face is that when enemy champions hold on to special attacks, it can just be like the end of the fight, and you're kind of left there going, wow, well, I got no health. It's just like taken away all my health all of a sudden. That's not good. Okay, so let's cut the video there. That's the good, right? And I've probably pin coded this or tabbed it, so this is now going on to the bad, or things I think that could be done better. So one of the things that I felt that could be done better was the volume of fights. There is 15 fights plus a boss fight, meaning 16 fights. I think if I got that right, which it does feel like it just goes on a bit. And if you've got champions that are not strongest, then that becomes an issue as well. Like the higher damage or the slowest to ramp against some of the nodes means that you won't be able to do quite as much damage as quickly, and therefore it will just like the fights will take longer, but mainly the extent of length of the fights. I think it's like my raw recording of this was about 1 hour per quest, or 1 hour to 2 hours or something. I can't remember exactly. I definitely need to go back and check, but I can't remember if I've deleted all that footage. I'm actually just quickly check now if I've got any kind of like raw footage to kind of indicate the length of time I invested into it. I tell a lie, I checked my raw footage and it took me 30 minutes to go from Psylocke to Cyclops, size and size. So that means that the overall quest, like the explore, that's working out at about 3 hours. That's not too bad, but I would have loved to have done this within about 2.5 hours to 2 hours flat. And look, I've got a good enough roster, but there are champions I don't have at rank 2. So if I don't have them at rank 2 as a 7-star, or certain champions at rank 5 as a 6-star, therefore they're not strong. If they're not strong, they're not able to get onto the nodes quicker to then boost up to then get it done. And that's just down to circumstantial. That's not a case of like skill. I could play every champion that I wanted to a high skill level. It's just for whatever reason, if I don't ramp and the champions aren't strong enough, and as well they're not 7-stars, so therefore don't branch into that pulling rank 7-stars, then of course that's a bit of a bias to the problem of progression through it. So maybe if the fights were reduced down to, I don't know, 12 to 13, and 13 including the boss, rather than 16, it might help with the overall process and flow to make it a bit more quicker. That's really that. That will be, I mean, maybe that's me nitpicking, but it's just, I'm all about trying to save time in 2025. I think a lot of players are as well. They want to play the game, but they just don't have enough time nowadays to play said game. Let's quickly now talk about what feels to be quite restrictive around champions and roster. Two parts to this. The part one is that if you don't have a lot of champions at rank 5 as a 6-star, yes, rank 4 6-stars can do this, but again, it falls into what I said a moment ago about ramp, build, pace, nodes, and also that kind of boost that's for 7-stars exclusively. So if you don't have a lot of 7-stars at rank 2, you're not able to kind of like get to that particular point with your roster development and progression quicker. And again, we all want to save time. But if you don't have a lot of champions at rank 2, rank 4, 6-star, mainly rank 5, 6-star and ascended, then you might find that this is a bit of a ball ache to go through, especially if you don't have like duplicate versions of champions. Like say you've got a 7-star, 6-star versions of, fortunately I've got like 2 silks. I've got one as a 6-star rank 5 and I've got one as a 7-star rank 3. That's great. Not everybody's going to have that if you don't have both of those champions, and you might feel that your ramp is slower. So that's difficulty. Like roster breadth and depth and kind of ranking up is going to be such an important thing for players. I'm also a little concerned how Kabam have tipped Valiant difficulty around prestige. Like Kabam said back on, I think it was like April or just before April, at the end of March or whatever, to accomplish this event, quest will soon dynamically scale both in terms of challenge and rewards based on a summoner's current story progression milestone and the top 30 prestige. Now, that I still need Kabam to be clear on how that is based on. Like, if you've got a ton of people that spend, the top 20 or top 30 or whatever, top 100 of the player base will always be, or highly likely to be, spenders that are able to cultivate a bigger roster that is higher ranked champions, which don't necessarily reflect anybody that's been non-spending, or like myself, that has been non-spending for about 4 years, the same way with a lot of you that are non-spending. Like, what is that as a comparable? Like, how does that actually work? And also, is it something that I have to personally feel punished by if I don't have, does it start slipping away from me? Like, my roster won't be able to do what others have done, so therefore it's going to be even more difficult as a kind of a low end to Valiant type player. I mean, I've just got to do 9.2 and I'm fully caught up with any player that hasn't spent. The same thing with any spender, but you can't get any further than that. You've reached this threshold and you can't go any further. Tier 7 basic fragments, I'm getting in raids, I'm getting in other bits of content. I've got the super daily. Like, I'm up there, but I'm not kind of like up where spenders are, if that's the case of everything being judged against this. But again, need more explanation from Kabam. It's not for me to kind of like interpret this, it's for Kabam to answer and let us know what this is specifically about. The next thing is nodes. Like, Kabam actually put something I think is a bit stupid. Now, I've probably got this wrong, but on the face of it, this does look dumb. In the tech crossfight, which is this one right here, I'm actually going to just try and like enter it with kind of like what I think is like, you can see this, like it's tech specific. Okay, so what's your point, Rich? Well, we put in the tech specific champion. Actually, no, let's go for heck's sake. Let's gonna go to prove the point with here. Okay, so you're going with your tech. And then you look at the node and you go, okay, short temper, what? Crossfight. We can't be crossfight. You can't get back your champion. It's a one-use champion. So that's stupid. And then it says about hashtag Avengers. Well, there's very few tech hashtag Avengers. So and even then you're like, right. So I get that champion, I use that champion. And yes, I know this is also representative of the class side of things, but my point is, why crossfight? We can't use crossfight. Why just make it just, maybe a different node would have been better there. And that's being careful. Kabam have to be very careful, because not every single node that they put in, from like Cavalier difficulty, monthly difficulty, class specific difficulty, is always achievable by some of the different classes. They're always very different, and you might be like, well, 50% of the mystics can do this node, the other 50% can't. So Kabam have to be very careful on what they're putting in on a monthly basis. But either way, there's the same thing when it comes to like AI problems, all that stuff. Let's now throw it over to like what you're giving feedback wise. I want to see what the community are giving feedback wise to Kabam. And yeah, it looks like the test format is going to run in June, and a new test format is in July, so this won't stay the same for Valiant event. There may be a different one. I think the Valiant Gauntlet is spot on. It just needs to be a little bit less grindier, and it'll be absolutely fine, and maybe a few points kind of like refined with it, but it's a good start. I think it's a very good start. So Newman says the length and rewards feel perfect. Maybe if you were feeling generous, switch out the midway champion switch node with one that full heals, especially if in the future you start to add more and more champions and annoying defenders to the map. Other than that, at Blast, good work. Yeah, I agree, but also I'd say that it would be nice to have a team of 3, just so that you could have the change out between a new champion. Like halfway through the map, I'd be happy with just going, okay, 3 champions took me here, and then I get to choose one to change out and fully heal. Like that would be cool. Or maybe alternate between that one. I would love one checkpoint to refill your health half of the mission instead of only use your potion. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Fun and challenging. The one champ is nice. As I said, in the other forum post, I like the format, difficulty, and rewards, but I didn't really like the map layout. I mean, there were too many confusing portals, and I kept losing track. I mean, it's a fair point, fair assessment. When the secondary node, and I often check before entering fights, and it was a waste of time. If you want to keep the portals, at least make them easier. Okay, that's one thing that's an issue there. I thought it was great. I think it would be allowed to keep using the same champion if you want to, but other than that, it was good. In some ways, there is a point to that one, But the caveat, well, the kind of like the opposite to that is going, well, could you have it in a different way? Could you have it in like node like halfway down, you could then switch out, so you can at least do, I don't know, I can use Silk for about 4 fights, I then have to switch you know, to another one, and I can bring the 6-star version back. That I think is the meat in the middle there for it. But it looks like a lot of people are very fond of what Kabam have done, especially from what I've read, and of course what's there. There's so many different things. Like I like having 15 fights, having to use different champions. Forces to pull out champions haven't played. Yeah, that's a positive. It's difficult because I do understand about keeping a champ. I personally like to keep champ. I even like White Tiger. Played her once and I thought, oh, I'm not gonna play her anymore. I will try and find time to play her, but I kind of felt like, wouldn't it be good to me to play her a little bit more in this map? This is my opportunity, but now it's gone. The relic nodes, yes, I forgot about this. The relic nodes do need to off one and go, because they just don't work largely with it. Because effectively you're going to have about, what, 15, 16 relics? No, 15 relics of one particular class type. And you might not have fitted them all to the champions you want to use. Look, availability in that is an issue. Maybe that's something Kabam will fix in the future. But there's quite a few, some really good feedback there. I'll be excited to see what Kabam are doing with the next few months and how this iteration goes. But great start, Kabam. Looking forward to seeing more iterations and improvements. What are your thoughts on the Valiant difficulty? Have you played it? Are you aspiring to play it? What are your thoughts on some changes? Let me know in the comments, and have a lovely weekend, and goodbye.